Take a look at Division II. Before we get into the Lake bracket, one note in the Ada bracket, Napoleon, they're the one local team in the Ada bracket, which is that very heavily Western Buckeye League bracket. Napoleon's going to open up against Elida on Tuesday, that game in Paulding, way out there in Williams County for that matchup. But at Lake, that is the other district for Division II. As we begin with the upper half of the bracket, Sandusky, the 2 seed, they're going to take on the winner of Rogers and Sandusky Perkins, while Rossford and Woodward will meet in round 1 with Tiffin Columbian waiting.
Yeah, and I like this setup here for Rossford. If they can get into that situation where they're going to play Tiffin Columbian, that'll be a great matchup. Tiffin Columbian, they have an elite score in Beeson for them. And I think Rossford is a little bit deeper than Tiffin Columbian. I think they get through. And then on that bottom, we talked about Sandusky there at the 2 seed, Rogers. I think Sandusky and 2 teams that play very similar styles. I think Sandusky will get through. So that Rossford possible Sandusky match will be interesting. I like Rossford in the case that they are battle tested. You look, they played St. John's this year, tough. They played Perrysburg, tough. They played Ottawa-Glandorf right down to the wire, and then they beat a very good Defiance team, earlier this year as well. So I think they're battle tested. I'd like to see. I think I see Rossford getting through Sandusky and then meeting up with the other half of the bracket in that what would be the district final.
That's right. So those were the games in Genoa. The games at Bowsher Central Catholic. They are the 1 seed in this Division II district. They're going to take on the winner of Fostoria and Scott. Maumee Port Clinton, they'll play for the right to take on Clyde. When Central is playing on their game, they are nearly unbeatable.
They're tough because of their depth, and they can go. Coach Floyd can go. Go to that bench and go 6 through 9, 10 guys, and they really don't miss a beat. And I think that's the key to their success. Their defensive pressure doesn't fall off, and they got guys that can make shots on the offensive end. And you're right. As long as they're not in foul trouble and they're playing with a sense of urgency, they got the pieces. They got an elite scorer in Chico Johnson. You got size inside with the Lees, and you got guards that can defend and break your defense down with Greenlee. Thames can knock down the perimeter shot. As well. And Makai Leach, the freshman, has been huge for them this year. I like Central Catholic getting through, meeting up with Rossford in that district final, which we saw last year. Central Catholic upset Rossford last year, so that potential rematch, the district final, will be an outstanding matchup.
All right, let's move on to Division III. We've got several TAC schools looking at the Springfield sectional. Ottawa Hills will take on the Liberty Center. Maumee Valley Country Day takes on Evergreen. That would be perhaps a sectional final if both the Green Bears and the Hawks can get past those first-round games. Yeah,
and I'd like to see, I think Ottawa Hills, Coach John Lindsay, outstanding job, great in preparation. I think he gets through and matches up with Eastwood, the 1 seed. I think Eastwood just has a little bit too much firepower. Jacob Meyer, outstanding scorer for them. They're just coming off a huge win over Rossford just a couple of nights ago. Eastwood did. So, they're battle tested. But I think it's going to play out Eastwood, Ottawa Hills, Eastwood moving on.
And then down in the second half of that bracket, we get another TAC matchup in the first round as Northwood will take on Cardinal Stritch out in Wauseon.
Yeah, and I think Stritch will get through there, and that matchup with them and Swanton is going to be a very interesting matchup because by that point it'll be round 2 between those teams. They play a non-league matchup here in the next week or 2 going into the tournament, so we'll see what adjustments both coaches make there. Swanton, an outstanding season, 16-2 right now under Coach Bruce Smith. The 2 games they lost, they did not have their leading scorer, so they've been outstanding all season long. They really sit down and guard you. So that'd be a great matchup between them and Stritch. And then you got Archbold playing that Genoa Lake winner. I think Archbold gets through. So I think your Swanton Stritch winner against Archbold. Again, teams that are very similar in their makeup, similar in their skill set. It'll be very interesting how that one plays out.
Finally, Division IV, the Defiance District will begin with the Napoleon Sectional. Emmanuel Christian, they are the 4th seed. They'll take on Stryker. The big question with the Warriors, can they stay alive long enough for Jerry Easter II to be able to be healthy and play again?
And I think that's key. I think that's key for them. As they advance forward through this bracket, because if they do indeed match up with an Antwerp, they're going to need Jerry Easter. We saw Antwerp last year knock out Toledo Christian on a last-second shot by Jagger Landers. He's an outstanding talent there at Antwerp. So I see that being the matchup, Antwerp, Emmanuel Christian. And let's see if Jerry Easter's available or not for that one because he's going to be needed.
And Toledo Christian, they are the 3rd seed in the Defiance District. They will take on Holgate. That game played at Bryan High School coming up on Wednesday the 23rd.
Yeah, and Toledo Christian right now, they got to kind of find their mojo back there. They've lost 4 in a row, and right now, so they have a chance. They have 5 games left on their schedule. They got a chance to get right. They play Ottawa Hills, they play Cardinal Stritch, and they not Cardinal Stritch. They got Ottawa Hills, Swanton in a non-league matchup too. So they're going to be battle tested, have a chance to get some of that positive momentum back. They're going to need to as they get through. If they match up with the potential Ayersville in the top of that bracket, they're going to need to be hitting on all cylinders. When they're right, they can beat anybody. But right now, they got to find that mojo once again.
22nd and 23rd, Tuesday and Wednesday, those are the first 2 nights for sectional play. And then on that Friday the 25th, that is going to be the fun night with all those sectional championship games, district quarterfinals if you want, or sectional titles, however you want to look at it. It's going to be a fun next couple of weeks as, let's face it, Rhett, March now begins in mid-February.
Yeah, and it's amazing how fast this season's gone. But hats off to all the teams, the coaches, the players, their sacrifices they make on a day-in, day-out basis, the adjustments they have to make, whether it's weather, whether it's COVID. You guys have earned the right to play meaningful games at the end of the season and in the postseason. This is what you play for. Have a lot of fun with it. Embrace the journey.